Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina. We've got Captain Frank and Captain Brian. It was hesitating because I didn't know which way my fingers were going. But appreciate y'all tuning in tonight and hanging out with us here for another episode of our live stream show. And Richard Blasak, appreciate you getting us kicked off right there with those 1,000 stars. And Tim Harris, appreciate your 830. Appreciate you guys. And appreciate everybody else tuning in. Don't forget to let us know where you're watching from. Comment where you're watching from, where you enjoy fishing out of, all that good stuff in the comments. Remember, you all only have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. That enters you for a chance to win some of the free trips we're giving away tonight. We're going to be giving away a 5-hour half day for 2 guests, a 10-hour all day for 2 guests, and a 39-hour fishing trip for 1. So lots of great stuff to win tonight, and lots of great stuff to talk about. And obviously got 2 great guests tonight. Christine Schrock, appreciate those stars. Thank you very much. We are going to get rolling here very shortly. Josh is not with us tonight, so excuse any premeditated I'm gonna ask for forgiveness in advance. He's our main technical guy.
He's our technical guy.
Yeah, we're gonna ask for forgiveness in advance if anything crazy happens tonight, technical wise. Larry White, appreciate those stars, and Christine and Pete, appreciate you guys. Jason Richmond, thank you guys. As I was saying, you comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, that enters you for a chance to win some of those free trips we're giving away. But then you must watch the show live, because if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you got about 5 minutes to claim your free trips. And I heard that some people are kind of watching the show and then popping out and coming back later in order to try to win free trips, yet not watch the show. So we are going to switch it up tonight and kind of switch up the order of those free trips a little bit. So keep that in mind, that we'll keep you on your toes by switching up trips.
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
And we're going to mess you up tonight.
Yeah, and if you're picked as a lucky winner, you got to claim it quickly.
We might do the overnighter trip
right off the bat. Who knows? David Barr, appreciate those stars. Dan Netto, same to you, buddy. Thanks for those 500 stars, Dan. For those of you watching on Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram, your screen looks funky. It's because the app won't let you turn that phone sideways and get the right aspect ratio. So you can go to Instagram.com and watch from the Instagram website. And as long as you're accessing Instagram through the internet, not the app, you'll be able to turn the phone sideways and see the full screen. Or you could just watch on YouTube or Facebook, which already has the right aspect ratio. On YouTube, feel free to comment. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video for us. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Sherry Griffiths, appreciate those stars. Thank you. If you're watching on Facebook, don't forget to like the stream and share it to your favorite Facebook group or to your timeline, and tell your friends to hop on board. The live show has begun. And with that, we're going to get into the photos here and show you guys what we've been catching inshore, what we've been seeing around the local waters. We've been seeing a lot of these black drum, and you can see the water behind this young gentleman is very dark. That is not fresh water. That is the color that we've been seeing in Johns Pass even occasionally when we get a really hard outbound tide.
I think it's tannic is the word.
I'm so proud of you. Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And tannic comes from the word detritus, which is the breakdown of leaves from
oak leaves primarily.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, so educated.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this table of education. That is exactly
Very
right.
Good, Frank.
All those leaves breaking down in freshwater estuaries, bayous, creates that brown look to the freshwater. And then freshwater mixing with saltwater also creates a little bit of a brownish look.
It's like tea.
Yeah.
Like how tea works.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's what you're
Same
seeing in
thing.
the background.
Robert Holshouser, appreciate those stars, buddy. Joseph Stanbrook, appreciate you as well. Harry Smith. So, again, as we were saying, saltwater's been very brown in the Back Bay. In the passes, we've been seeing a lot of that brown water on hard outbound tides, especially. We've had that full moon phase come around, and the full moon's flushing more of that freshwater brackish mix through the passes. We actually had an alligator in Johns Pass. I don't know if I talked about that last week. I think it happened this week.
I did not hear about that, but I just saw the blackest drum of my life.
Well,
Yeah,
years.
that is a black drum.
That is a black drum.
Black drum.
That's a nice one.
Darky. Yeah, when they're out in the river water and they're definitely getting more of that brown, dark water, they're like a gag grouper or a red grouper. They get darker with dark colors.
Most fish are like
Golly,
chameleons.
that is
They will take
amazing.
on the color of their background.
Absolutely.
You catch the
But
gags
that one
green,
totally has.
You know they're
Absolutely.
swimming along the edge of the grass.
Yeah, and you get the gags that are real white colored and super
They're out in the
white.
sand.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that dark belly, but then white top. You can almost tell where they've
We just
been
caught
around.
a scamp this weekend that was dark. And so you know he came out from under a ledge. You know, he was living in the shadows.
Yeah,
Brian, we're going to get to that.
yeah. He's in the photos.
I got some scamp stories today.
D Beers,
Man, I'm telling
appreciate
you.
those stars. Christine Chirac and Donnie Hayes, appreciate your stars, guys. And along with black drum around the Back Bay's dock lines, we've been seeing some mackerel at the mouth of the bay. Deeper water, moving currents, flashy lures where bait's present's been the key. Some big mangroves moving around Tampa Bay. Hearing reports on the radio show this weekend of 14 to 17-inch keeper mangroves.
We
in
saw
Tampa
a couple
Bay.
big ones under our dock.
Yeah, it's crazy,
know.
man. Definitely some big mangroves moving around. The redfish bite has really picked up this past week. Captain Mike Anderson on the Real Animals radio show this past Saturday was talking and saying it's the best redfish August that he's had since he's been fishing in this area.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
It's a
I
good
did-
August fishery this year.
it is.
It
But-
may be the best August.
And Mike is awesome as well.
So-
It's the best
so-
August I've ever seen Mike
Yeah.
at.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like you're brown nosing a little
No, I'm
bit,
kidding.
and we have to
No,
we have
that's
to
real.
go into why are you trying to suck up to Captain Mike? Because I feel like there's a story behind this.
No, there's no.
There's a
I know
story.
Mike is like the intercoastal guy.
Yeah, he's the
For
skinny water guy for
When you
sure.
hear anything
No.
about Mike Anderson, it's like if Mike Anderson's doing
Mike, I
good,
didn't mean nothing
I
by
want to
that.
see some pictures because I know he's hammered them.
All right, Frank.
let's see some
tell the
pictures.
story. Tell
Let's
the
see
story
some pictures.
behind what
Dylan
happened.
knows the story.
I know
Let's
the
hear
story.
it.
Don't make me tell
Yeah,
it.
that's
I don't
right.
have a story.
Behind why you're trying to make sure Mike Anderson's not mad at you.
What are you talking about?
Oh, look at
You remember the story from the CCA banquet 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Well, you were hammered. That has nothing to do with that.
I was not, but someone
it was.
was.
It was
That's a long
lies.
time
It was
to try to kiss and make
It was
up.
lies.
Oh my goodness.
No, that is-
Frank doesn't want to tell the story, but
No, is that real? That is not a real thing hanging around?
what? That he was really mad at you?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
So Frank got real drunk at a
you-
CCA
Yeah,
banquet.
you guys all messed with me.
and
That was not real.
Yeah, we started a
Yeah.
rumor that Captain Mike wanted to beat up Frank because he was
Yeah,
real loud
I was
and
like,
obnoxious.
what?
Because
Bring-
Frank couldn't
and then I was like,
remember.
bring it.
So it's
and
easy
then,
to start
that
the
was all.
rumor.
That was all BS. That
Yeah.
was total BS. The
It
whole
was-
thing.
it was-
I went
it
to
was a
my.
little-
No, I called Mike and I was like, Mike, is this real? And he's like, no.
He sounds guilty.
You called him?
Yes, I called him.
I didn't hear that part
I was
of the
like,
story.
no. He's like, wait, what? No, you guys had made up this. No, what the? What?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're gonna do it 2 years later on a live show?
I
Pull
just
this
didn't
out?
know if you remembered the
It
story.
was the
No.
kid with all the fish.
Mike and I
this
are
week.
good. We have no problems. Yeah.
The kid with all the
Apparently,
fish.
you guys lied to
Yeah,
me.
same kid that had the
And I,
drums. and
yes,
got the
yes,
redfish.
that day it made me look like an
Well, who is
a-hole.
he?
Yeah, because I was
Who
asking
is
him.
the kid in the photos? I don't remember his name exactly. It was, I want to say Ryan, but I don't remember.
He
off
looks
the
like
top of
he's
my head.
taking his fishing pretty serious.
Yeah, he is. He
Yeah.
was part of the kids fishing camp, the Florida Fantasy Fishing Camp, and he went out with the charter captain and then continued to fish. And I went on to saltstrong.com this week to get my fishing report photos from the Salt Strong Fishing Club, which is a great place because not only do they have all the fishing photos, but then they tell you where they caught them, how they caught them, what lures they used.
Right.
It's crazy.
Trying
the
to
amount of
help, man.
information.
Just trying to help.
Yeah, so it's a great place for me to pull fishing report information from because everybody's willing to share that information and share their photos. And he had like 8 posts this week, all packed with a bunch of fish.
And now he's back to school.
Yeah. And now it's back to the old grind.
Damn it, man.
Joseph Stanbrook, appreciate those stars. Thanks, man. But as I was saying, lots of redfish lately. You see here, almost all those redfish have the same
Artificial.
yeah, pretty much the same lure, 16th ounce to 8th ounce jig head with a soft plastic white paddle tail is kind of the redfish fisherman's secret weapon.
This week.
There's 2, really, it seems like it's almost every week.
Really?
There's one, there's another one, and obviously the same fisherman using the same lure, but there's 3 back-to-back, 3 different fishermen, pretty much
Using
the same setup.
thing.
That kind of settles
There you
it.
go, guys.
It's like
3 different
what
fishermen,
you
and those are
wanna
3
use,
different areas, too.
Give that a shot.
Yeah, definitely white paddle tails, soft plastics are great. And snook fishing's been so great lately, even Scraps.
Even
is
Scraps
Even-
could catch one.
Raps.
We
It's
are
so
in the,
good.
We are in the
Even
best
Scraps can catch
location to
one.
catch snook.
Yeah.
12 months out of the year, you got a better chance at
Yeah,
our spot.
definitely. John's Pass is loaded
No
up
doubt.
with snook right now. It's just the trick is getting
Even
them to
Stevie
bite.
Wonder
Even
could
all
get
the
one.
you go out
If,
to the
if,
end
if
of the
Scraps
break.
can get one, Stevie Wonder.
You
can
go
get
out on the end of the dock, under the bridge, and at the end of the breakwater, and just look down there and see these 4 or 5 foot snook just swimming around. You
Cruising.
can't get 'em
clearing
to
up.
take a
Thank
bait.
God. Is it not clearing up? Thank
It
God.
is.
Yeah, it's cleared
It's
up a lot.
way
Yeah.
clear right now.
We were
this week.
really worried about the whole the red tide thing, but man, I think we dodged.
Yeah, I
bullet.
think we beat it.
I think we dodged a
Beat
bullet.
it down.
Yeah, definitely dodged a big bullet, and hopefully that red tide will stay away from us.
Please,
But as I was pointing out earlier,
red tide. If you're watching this, stay away.
as I was pointing out earlier, before I switched back to the photos, definitely a lot of these white plastic paddle tails in the photos.
Yeah,
Before,
guys.
when we were talking about it, we didn't have the photos on.
That would
was
be
my
a
bad.
go-to.
Yeah.
What a great bait.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, it's all around, and you can see here they're also using it with great success for the snook.
Yeah.
And it's a great all-around color, but typically you're matching the color of the water to your soft plastics or your artificial lures inshore, but that white is a good all-around color because
Brown
Yeah,
water
you're-
wants a root beer.
Yeah.
Right.
You're right.
yeah, clear water,
Yeah, match the
chartreuse.
color of the water, but white is the all-around
Well,
go-to.
match the color of the bait, right?
No,
Isn't
you're typically wanting to try to create, because fish don't see color. Lures and lure colors typically are more meant, in my opinion, to kind of catch the fisherman walking down the aisle at the bait shop. It's more about transition. So fish see those shadows, and more naturally, like Captain Brian said earlier, fish like bait are kind of chameleons. So something that looks totally out of place in the environment isn't going to be
It's
as natural.
different than the match the color is what everybody always.
Match the hatch and match the color.
That's it.
Same
And
size
And
baits.
there it is. I mean, to each their own.
And you also want to make sure this time of year you're working that bait a little bit, the shorter, smaller soft plastics. Instead of those 6-inch ones, you want to use those 3, 4, 5-inch ones because the bait right now in Tampa Bay is super small.
It's
So
August. The water's warm. The fish are moving slower,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the big appetite that they have when the water's colder. So you got the smaller bait, definitely.
smaller bait, and they're more opportunistic too. So you got to really make sure you're presenting that bait in such a way that they're able to get it without expelling a lot of energy.
Oh, it's a lot of it's presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Hooking even a chunk bait, you have to hook it correctly.
Yep. And make sure that bait's sitting naturally there on the bottom ready. And chunk bait's a great option because just like you and I, we're super lazy in the afternoon when it's nice and hot out, whereas those fish are doing the same thing. So the hotter the water, the more lazy the fish. So that dead, stinky bait sitting on the bottom is a
They
great
will
option.
sniff it out.
And they'll go hunting for it. So we showed you what we're seeing inshore. We're going to work our way near shore and offshore. Show you what we've been catching out there. The 44-hour trip came in this morning. This guy, Captain Brian, was running it, and they did very well on the 44-hour trip with monster mangrove snapper.
Yeah, they've been killing it.
A couple nice big gags and big porgies, monster porgies this trip. But Eric won the jackpot.
Eric did not.
Oh, he got
win the
beat
jackpot.
out.
He had
Close.
2 gags, and he was happy. It's August. The gags are not as big as they were in June and July.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the water's hot. You
Yeah.
know, they're tougher to catch. We fished deep.
Yeah.
But Eric had 2. He's a happy camper, but he missed out by a pound.
Oh,
For sure.
close. And this time of year, those fish are definitely deep, hiding out, trying to stay cool. But fishing deep has its benefits. You guys got yourselves a 97-pound
Man,
amberjack.
I told everybody on the ride out, I
Look at
thought
that
we
fish.
wanted a 100-pounder.
97,
And I thought John had a 100-pounder, and it was 96.5.
Brian only wishes he could catch a 100-pounder.
I got a picture of a 100-pound Kobe
But it's a
twice.
100-pound
I'm
Kobe
kidding.
twice.
It's
That's a
97 pounds?
monster.
Yes,
That is a
sir.
monster.
97 pounds is
46
amazing.
foot rack down off of Everglades City.
Oh, my goodness.
100-pounder.
But
That's
seriously,
crazy.
97 pounds, Brian, that's amazing, dude.
You don't get a
Awesome.
T-shirt for 97. You got to have 100.
Triple
Is that
digit.
right?
That's right. No
There's a
T-shirt.
100-pound club
It's
at
the only
Hubbard's
way he'll
Marina.
fit into a medium shirt.
And if you get a fish over 100 pounds, if you get an amberjack over 100 pounds, you get into that 100-pound club and one of those free T-shirts. So.
And generally, once a year, we'll get one.
Mm-hmm.
But we were no current in the deep water this trip. I went as deep as almost 270, and the jacks were big. The first wreck I parked on, I was gonna let you talk first.
Yeah.
First wreck I parked on 245, big fish. We fished for the first 40 minutes and did not put a fish in the box
Wow.
because they were breaking 80-80. They're breaking 100-100.
That's crazy.
Couldn't land. Finally, the anglers calmed down. We landed a few. Maybe that's where the big one came. And then we went deeper, 265, 270. Big fish.
Mm-hmm.
Tough time landing them. If the weather's nice, guys, this next weekend, or this next week, Captain Garrett, probably going to want to make sure you load up on them 10, 12-ounce leads.
Yep.
But I had no current in the deep water. I shallowed up, ran right up into the current, spent all afternoon ripping.
Well,
Ripping.
Current.
It was actually 100-foot shallower, and you
Yes.
had almost 3 times as much
4
current.
times, 5 times the current. Drop that 12 ounce and watch it go. Pew!
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But so, you know, it's a loop current in the Gulf. You don't know where it is unless you pay for the service,
Yeah.
right? And get the satellite image.
or call us, you know.
And it's-
We'll-
But yes,
Do you have
nice.
the service?
no. We'll
It's
yeah,
expensive.
Yeah.
It is. It's
You
like,
got to call
I
me or
think it's
Brian
$60
personally.
It's $75 if you want to access it once. And then the Roths charts, the good one is $1,200 a month. It's crazy.
So
But
if
that
you're
gives you
ever out
everything.
fishing deep, guys, and you're catching big fish, don't shallow up. Stay there.
Don't leave
Wherever
fish to
there's
go
no
find
current,
fish.
that's where you want to be.
And back to the fishing photos, what Captain Brian alluded to earlier, a very dark scamp grouper, as we were discussing. They can change their color around their patterns and around their environment. That thing was definitely up under a rock.
That was a barge wreck, so he was probably in the barge, maybe.
He was chilling.
Can I
Deep.
say something?
Go for it.
I'm going to let loose on it. All right, so our last 10-hour trip, you know, we had actually I would say 9 of the last 10-hour trips for a 10-hour, we've been pulling a keeper scamp. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot. However, we haven't seen numbers like that where we were going like a month or 2 without seeing a keeper scamp, period. So then this past 10-hour trip, we saw 2 keeper scamps right out the gates.
We
And it was
are
like,
having a
on
good
the-
August,
on the
guys.
first stop.
The skinny water, the near shore, the all-day trips, and the overnighter. We are having a
Yeah,
great
but-
August.
like
Yeah.
numbers that we were seeing back when you could catch, like, you know, some guy groupers on the 10-hour everything, you know, I just didn't think anything of it. And then we saw 2 keeper scamps, and I was like, you know
So
what?
scamp fishing's getting better. Deep water, shallow water.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pop into my fucking computer. I'm gonna pop into my computer. Excuse me, and I'm gonna go to a couple of our scam spots. And so that's what I did. I went out there. We got like 4 keeper scamps, and we haven't seen more than one keeper scamp. And honestly, on a 10-hour,
Yeah,
Brian,
definitely getting better.
It's been 2 hours.
I didn't
Or 2 years.
I haven't seen
Right.
any red grouper in about a month, but I've been fishing different locations.
Yeah.
I
And it
think
seems
Captain
like
Garrett,
they're picking up a lot.
this in July
Yeah.
was a real good month for reds for me. I'm coming home with 35, 40 of them,
Yeah.
you know. But that was in skinnier water. That was up in 125.
We're doing pretty good on the
130.
10-hour. I feel like we've been averaging for like 8 to 14 on the 10 hours
When you're fishing deeper, closer to that 80, 90 foot.
for sure. And then the scamps just threw us on a loop. Like
I think August you should do 12 hours. It's slick,
out there
calm,
deeper.
man. It's
Man,
like go.
I'm in.
And I know
I'm-
you're
I'm
dying.
in. I'm in.
I know you're
I'm
dying
in.
to go fish.
We're not
some
doing,
wanna go-
we're
I
not
wanna go
doing
4
12
miles
hours
deep.
anymore.
The
I
water,
want to go 4 miles
the
deeper.
deeper you go, the cooler the water. It's August. The water is hot. This last weekend, we started mango fishing in 200 feet.
Yeah.
We fished from 7 p.m. a 44-hour trip. We fished 200, 205 feet of water all night long.
Yeah.
Nice grade of mangoes. They don't come up as fast in the deeper water. Takes longer to drop and longer to reel them up. But dang, nice grade of fish.
Yeah. It's
And
overall.
it would be the same thing. I think near shore, the deeper you can go. And I'm
And
not
we've
doing
seen-
too many half-day trips anymore.
It's a
but
tough
I'm
one
having
this
to go
time of year
deep.
because
We've seen the same thing on the half-day trips, too. I mean, we're not catching fish in 30, 40 feet of water. Captain Joe today was fishing in 50 feet of water on
Yeah,
a
I
half-day
had a-
Wow,
trip.
that's a long ways to go.
That's what I had to pull off the
and
2
a
days
lot
ago.
of that's the red tide that either kills the fish or chases them offshore.
Yeah.
And we're burning a lot of extra fuel. Our 5 hour
But we do what
is
we gotta
definitely
do.
a 5.5,
We
and
do
it might
what
be,
we gotta
and
do.
an afternoon 5 hour might be a 6 hour damn trip.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are not getting home on
Or
time.
it's a half day where you got
If
to
you
go
got
out
a plane
an hour
to
and a
catch,
half.
guys, you can't come fishing with us. I'm sorry. You got a
We're
plane
gonna
to
be
catch,
overtime.
man. We are going to be late because we want you to come home feeling
Yeah.
good.
And it's definitely been good all around, as you guys can see from the photos. We just finished through those photos real quick so that way we could get into some questions here. But before we get into the questions, we did want to show you this real quick. So this is our red tide forecast. Now, this is a forecast. And what's interesting that I was kind of looking into today, because if you were watching our Instagram stories, we posted an Instagram story from John's Pass. And you can see here John's Pass is in yellow or orange, and then around Madeira Beach is red, showing red is a super high concentration, orange is a medium concentration. Now this is a forecast based on August 21st through 25th, and they're basing this off the samples. So I didn't understand this because right now it's beautiful.
It's not as bad. I got out of my truck a month ago and could smell it immediately. It is not as bad as it was. Not
This is
even
a red
close.
tide forecast?
So
Yeah.
they're basing these forecasts off of samples, and when you go to the website for sampling, the samples are taken every 8 days, or the samples stay on the website for 8 days. So the red that you're seeing along Madeira Beach was sampled about 7 days ago behind Archibald Park, and they're forecasting that to move south based on hydrology and currents. And that's what they're getting that red from, and we haven't seen that. So the sample has changed, and they
It
haven't
has.
updated the
A couple
forecast.
weeks
Apparently.
ago, I think we had our peak. That's when I saw the most dead fish right beside the boat at the dock. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm not seeing any. I didn't
I'm not
see
seeing
any
anything.
offshore.
I'm not seeing
I'm not
anything.
driving across
Yeah.
100 dead fish on way out on a half day. It's that.
It
the
really
model
doesn't
is-
matter what we see within 1 mile or 2 because we're going out 12 miles.
We're going out 10 or 12, but I am not
Yeah.
passing
And fishing is amazing.
hundreds of dead fish. I'm not seeing it.
like we did a month ago.
Yeah.
Like we did a month ago. The
Yeah.
forecast is behind. It's at least a week behind. I think it's more like 2 weeks.
And what's interesting about the forecast is I was really relying on that a lot because it kind of forecasted where we would be. But now that we're on the backside of this bloom, it seems like the forecast is really hit or miss because all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, it was empty. There's nothing. And I was like, holy moly, it's over. And then like a couple days later, it was back and it was showing some areas of red.
And it was strong.
And then all of a sudden, then the forecast went to nothing again. And then it's been bouncing back and forth, vacillating quite a bit.
It really doesn't matter because if you're coming out fishing with us, we're gonna
we go fishing past the red tide.
We're gonna adjust our depth to make sure you catch fish.
Yeah.
Period.
Even at the worst
Done
concentrations, even at the worst red tides in the recent history, 2017, 18, that was really
and
bad.
that was the worst.
That was worse than
affect our
this
fishing.
one by far.
Yeah, we had to go
17,
out like 16
18, we had
16 miles
thousands
on half day.
thousands of
We
dead
don't have to
fish,
do
and I
that
have
right
not
now.
seen thousands.
No.
No.
It's been like 3
We're
weeks since I
just
went
went
out on a
12
half
miles
day
on the
and
last
drove
half day.
past
Let's not argue. Hold on.
a
Go
bunch
ahead.
of dead fish.
It's gotten better. That's where we're
It's
at.
way
12
better
miles
than
on my
that.
last half day, we crushed them.
Yeah. So
crushed
long
them.
story short, it's improved
300
vastly.
Yeah, you will not
Yeah.
smell it. It will not affect
Yeah.
you. You will be fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the weather here real quickly before we get into our questions. Right on our website, hubbardsmarina.com, if you go to fishing trips, you scroll down to the weather links. That's going to bring up our weather links page. The very top on the right side, wind finder forecast, the 5 and 10 hour forecast areas where I always like to start, kind of ground truths everything for us. And what we're kind of seeing right now, guys, is the overall trend is it looks absolutely still gorgeous Monday and into Tuesday. And then we see it pick up a little bit there Wednesday. In my opinion, these raindrops, you really almost got to ignore them to an extent. That's less than 0.1. So really not even... it's
Nothing.
basically a
It's
chance
August,
of rain.
guys. It's going to be slick, calm,
And you hope
hot,
it rains
man.
because it's
Just
hot
You
out.
want the overcast.
Go to your furthest numbers right now because it's
Yeah.
August, man.
No.
And so Monday, Tuesday looks gorgeous. Wednesday, the wind picks up a little
You
bit.
see any mahi at all?
Yeah, the
I
Mahi
got
have
4
been,
on the last one.
Yeah.
Mahi have been around. That's
It's-
part of being hot too. And you guys, one thing that I talked about on the radio this past weekend, and I want to reiterate, is we're all saying it's hot and how bad it is heat-wise. But the reason it's hot is because we have a high pressure sitting on us, and that high pressure sitting on us pushed Grace south and kept her directly west, and it pushed Henri right. Henri was going right at Florida, and it was like skirt, took her
Pretty
right.
much what
headed
Dylan's
up to
saying
New
it-
York.
Yeah, we love stationary
It's
high
hot
pressure.
because they said it was going to be hot.
No,
It's August. It's hot.
It's hot because we have a high pressure sitting on us.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be hot if that high pressure wasn't sitting on top of us, baking us. And if that high pressure moved, it would cool down because we get a tropical
but
storm
it's the
sitting on us.
perfect time
But
to
Dylan,
go
we're
hit
on
your
board. It's gonna be
furthest
hot.
offshore
We're all
numbers.
going to be hot.
No, what
It's
Frank?
okay. We're going to catch fish.
Yes,
This week,
we understand
we're-
that. But
we're-
what I'm trying to
We're
say
going to
is
nail it.
the fact is
Don't mind us, guys.
the hot heat that we've been seeing in that dry bluebird sky is definitely frustrating to some, but don't complain about the heat because that high pressure kept these storms from coming to Florida.
Oh,
so
the
definitely
water
worth
is
it.
crystal clear, and get out your fluorocarbon
Just when,
and lighten
just
your
when
tackle.
everyone thought they couldn't catch
Get 'em.
hogfish in this, did we not do it?
Yeah, behind the storm,
Yep.
that cooled it off a little bit. We got 5-6 days of cloud cover from that last storm, and right behind it cooled down 5-6 degrees, and it definitely brought those hogfish back to the ledges.
Yeah.
Now it's been crystal clear blue skies, high pressure sitting on us, super hot. Those fish have scattered off the ledges a little bit and got back to their harems. Hogfish breed in harems, and this time of year, they're all spread out breeding. And once it cools off, the cold front started up again, that's when those hogfish go back to the ledges for cover, and we'll start really doing well on them again.
Oh yeah, 1st of September, Frank will be all on them.
But Tuesday, I'm going to try.
As I was saying about the weather, it picks up a little bit Thursday and Friday, but still the wave heights don't really pick up near shore. Still less than 2.5 foot all the way through the weekend. So
Out of the east all weekend.
yes, because we get that high pressure reinforcing. What's interesting, and we'll see here by going back to the Weather Links page, if we scroll all the way to the bottom of the Weather Links page, to our buddy Mike's website, the Ultimate Storm Forecast, spaghettimodels.com. We'll pull up our prog charts real quick. And what's really interesting is how these high pressures are interacting with Henri. And Henri is stalling over New York State, New Jersey, Rhode Island. And as Henri stalls, the tail of that storm is actually protruding between these high pressures, and they're going to fight over that moisture in between those highs, and that's what's going to create and precipitate that kind of I guess you could say a little bit adverse weather later this week. This is the prog chart for tomorrow, and you can see here between the two highs, you've got Henri, which is up here out of frame, up here in New York State. And from the tail of Henri, if you look at the radar, the national radar, you can see literally the moisture that storm is pulling from the Gulf of Mexico. And as it pulls moisture up, it's creating a band of low pressure fighting between those two highs. And those two highs are what's making it so hot in Florida, but also what steered Grace away from us and kept Henri going up into the northeast. And so that little low protrudes low enough. This is, again, Monday, and then if we look at Tuesday, you can see Tuesday that low extends a little bit lower, and that's enough to start bringing us some of that adverse condition because it's a pressure gradient. Those lows and highs are fighting with each other, and eventually Wednesday it starts to lift, and then as it lifts, that's when that east wind sets in that Captain Brian referenced. So we'll have a little bit of an east wind, a little bit of cloud cover, but overall it's not going to get bad because we don't necessarily get a low. We just get a little bit of a tail of Henri as he exits the area. So definitely looking forward to a great week of weather overall. It just definitely best Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday still looks good, but it's going to be a little breezy, but it almost helps this time of year because you don't want it to be too nice. You'll appreciate it.
Yeah, you will appreciate that breeze.
Yeah. You don't want it to be too nice because then you don't have an anchor heading.
You don't have a heading without the breeze. Frank, tell me about these mahis, man.
Tuesday, Thursday, you guys are going to be there. Just do it. Just
on the 10-hour trips, yeah. Tuesday, Thursday. Tuesday, you're going to stay shallower and target hogfish?
No, I just feel like we're going to hammer them either Tuesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
We're either going to get the hogfish or we're going to get the red groupers. I mean,
and then Thursday, you're going to
be awesome.
But Tuesday, are you going to stay shallower, like in that 40, 50-foot stuff?
I don't want to.
On a 10-hour?
I don't want to.
I've been trying to hit 90. I think it's August.
So Tuesday and Thursday, you're going to be staying deeper.
Yeah, 90-foot mahis, guys. Bring a pitch bait. Bring a pitch bait rod with you and be ready.
All right, sounds like a plan. So we're going to be fishing deeper all week on the 10-hour trips.
I am getting Tuesday. Bonnie had asked me something. Are we going to hit the secret hogfish hole? Yeah.
So we're going to try for some hogfish Tuesday, but definitely staying deeper overall on the 10-hour trips.
We're going to go there.
And then with the questions, let's see what questions we got so far tonight.
Very brief, Bonnie.
And then
one stop.
All right, man. We get it. We heard you.
Man, like my fish food.
It's a good spot.
Your fish food shirt? I like that.
Yeah, man, fish food.
Sushi. So with that, we're going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question, you can text in that question right there to that phone number on the bottom corner right below Frank. Our main office number is textable, and it's a great way to send in your questions for the show. We are going to get into those now. And before we get into questions, we're going to give away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. We're going to switch it up a little bit.
All right.
Give away that 10-hour all-day for 2 guests first. So let's see who won that 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. And, of course, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
He warned you first.
I did. I pre-warned you.
There may be some technical.
And then as soon as we give away our 10-hour all-day first, then we're going to get into your questions. Oh, how did that get refreshed? That's frustrating. Where are you going, Brian?
Nowhere.
Mike for Maine, you want a sandwich.
So with that, let's see if we can. Oh, there we go. That actually worked. I'm surprised. Look at that. I can figure things out myself.
How about that?
I am so impressed.
Josh, you're fired.
So we want to make sure we have the right one. Perfect. All right. So let's see who won a free 10-hour all-day trip. For
Drum roll.
2 guests.
Come on, winner.
With me.
You can hit the drum roll button. You know which one it is? It should say drum roll next to it.
Oh, it does.
Go for it.
All right.
Look at that. We do have the drum roll. And the lucky winner of the 10-hour all-day trip
Thomas Kelly.
is Thomas Kelly.
All right, Tom.
Congratulations, Thomas Kelly from Fort Myers. You are the lucky winner of our 10-hour all-day for two guests. Don't forget, again, if you're picked as one of those lucky winners, you do have to text us at that phone number within 5 minutes to claim your free trip for 2 guests to prove you're watching live. Because if you don't, we're going to assume you weren't watching live.
And give it to somebody else.
Make sure you claim it quickly, Mr. Thomas Kelly. Congratulations.
Good luck, man. Thanks.
And with that, let's get into some of these questions. Are vermilion snapper good eating? I think they are extremely good eating.
One of my favorites.
Fast. They don't freeze well.
They're a softer meat. You want to eat them first. There's no dark meat on that filet, man. They are like cotton candy. I love them. Nothing better than a 2-day-old vermilion.
Yeah, they are extremely soft meats and super flaky, which makes
Real
the texture
flaky.
even
Yeah,
softer.
They're nice.
And it breaks it up nicely because when you get those bigger flakes, like say on a big gag grouper or a bigger grouper in general,
a red snapper has the best flakes.
Yeah,
Each flake comes off there that big exactly.
Yeah,
come on.
But they're also, what I'm getting at is when you cook them up and they're those super small thin flakes like you have on a vermilion, it makes it more kind of succulent, I guess you could say, more tender.
It is
where you get those
tender.
bigger flakes like on a red snapper or a big gag grouper, it's kind of more firm.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Vermilion, eat them first. Catch them up and eat them. They are great.
Porgies and vermilions, I would suggest.
Porgies, for sure. I had a instance one time. Mm-hmm. I filleted up like maybe 8 pounds of porgy fillets. I put them in the fridge for 3 days. When I pulled them out, they were sour.
Ooh,
And
that was
I did
quick.
not eat them. 3 days filleted in the fridge. So eat your porgies first, eat your vermilions next, and then move to your grouper.
Yeah, and mangrove snapper lasts forever. They taste
They
great.
do.
Definitely.
Nice firm fillet on a mangrove.
Oh yeah, definitely a great eating fish, and they last well too. Any tips on catching mahi? I mean, me personally, I like a gotcha plug tied up, ready to pitch out there.
I like a gotcha plug.
I had
Frank,
4 on my last all day.
How
with
what
a
would you
gotcha or what?
suggest?
Doctor, what's that doctor whatever? Jig?
Doc's jigs.
Yeah, Doc's jigs. I like them for mahi. Naked.
You just have to have
Even naked.
You just have to have a fishing, a spinning rod ready.
You gotta have a
It's out
spinning
there.
rod ready.
And
Yeah.
you got to be ready to pitch
Yeah.
that bait quickly.
And
'cause
I
they
have
move
just,
quickly.
I've had 4 feet of line hanging off the tip of my rod and just smack the water 5 times and let that Doc's goofy jig just sit and bang, have a mahi on it. Like
Yeah.
just bang that water 4 times with it and stop. Catch fish.
That's interesting. I like a 7/8 ounce gotcha plug. Underhand cast that as far out as you can and let it sink for 5 to 10 seconds so it gets down in the water column. Hold the tip of the rod right at the surface of the water and retrieve
Skim
as
it-
quick as you
skim it.
can.
If
Skim
you
it
see
right across.
anything floating right now, if you're in 90 feet of water, and this is a guesstimate, if you're in 90 feet and deeper, you see anything floating, slow the heck down. Don't crowd it. Get up there close and start pitching those lures out there, man, and you will catch some fish.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't crowd that whatever's floating. There's something around everything out there that's floating right now.
Yep. Yeah, I
and
agree.
It's August. You can see them.
They're great.
I agree.
And they're free. That's
And we're
right.
seeing a lot of those big amberjacks. Next question is, are those amberjacks good eating? On our coast, we catch a lot of those big amberjack, and they're definitely extremely good eating. We don't get the big amberjacks real wormy like we do on the East Coast. A lot of people come over from the East Coast and they say that the amberjacks are all wormy. They're not good food quality. On our coast, our amberjacks are predominantly worm-free. Very little.
It's clean meat.
Yeah.
You might see 1 or 2 worms
Yeah,
in a
and
big jack. Unless it cuts you real shallow, you're in the wrong spot, you might once a year maybe catch a wormy jack.
yeah, and it's rare. And if we do see the worms, typically they're on the very bitter end of the fish, near the tail, and most of the time, like Captain Brian said, they're worm-free. I personally prefer to either grill them or fry them fresh. If we're having a big fish fry, or if we have a lot of people coming over, that's when I will either grill or fry them. But one of the best ways that I enjoy eating amberjack is getting them smoked up and turning them into fish spread. It's a great way to enjoy it.
If you don't have a smoker, guys, you're not used to smoking meat, boil it, make it up into like a tuna fish, right?
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
boil the jack, do your mayo and your celery salt and whatever you want in there. Awesome. Fresh fish spread, man. What do you want?
Yeah, and me personally, I don't have a smoker. I don't have time to smoke a fish.
Boil it, man.
Yeah, but the thing I do is take it to Nachman's Native Seafood. You leave the skin on it. You
That's
take
what I
it
was
right
gonna say.
there, drop it off, and not only Nachman's, but Ted Peters over in Gulfport. Nachman's is on Indian Shores north of us. Ted Peters is south of us. You can drop your fish off, pay a couple dollars per pound, and not even, it's super cheap.
Timmy Knockman makes the best fish
That's
spread.
what I was gonna say.
I've been eating it for
that's
30
And it's the
years.
easiest
That's a
way to
good
do it.
go-to.
And
Drop
you
it
know,
off,
he does,
let them
yeah,
smoke.
man, they take a portion or they charge you a bit, but you get the best.
And then you
You're
can
in
even
or you're out.
you can even have them turn it into fish bread, or you could take home the smoked meat and go ahead
Do
and
it
smoke
yourself.
it yourself. It's up
Sure.
to you.
You're in or you're out.
Yeah, and then also, let's see here. What other questions do we have? Denoris Hall sent us a bunch of stars earlier in the show and sent us a big photo of his amberjack. Unfortunately, Denoris, we can't pull it up live, but definitely a nice fish there, buddy. Let's see. We answered that one.
Last trip I had Denoris and Gene on the boat. They split the jackpot.
Oh, man.
This trip they did not. But I said,
They couldn't keep up.
it's
Let's see here. Let's see. Next question. Just curious why seats G43 through 47 are unavailable on the 39-hour trip. So the all of the spots with G previous to them on the 39-hour trips are because we have what's called guest spots, and they're not guest spots in the form of, oh, we hold those spots for our private guests that we bring. It's simply because the boat's licensed, or the boat's numbered for 60 people, because on a 10-hour all day we allow up to 60 people, so that way if we had to, we can take the Florida on a 10-hour all day, and our ticket numbers and our seat numbers match up to our 10-hour all day seat assignments. But on a 39-hour trip, we only take 50 people, so we have to take 10 spots out of the mix in order to make sure there's only 50 spots instead of the boat being numbered for 60. So when I first started, they actually, our guest spots, I'm sure you probably remember this, our guest spots, we had 2 guest spots in the stern that were marked off, and then we had guest spots kind of halfway up, kind of the just behind the middle of the boat. Then we had some guest spots up in the front of the boat. Whereas I thought that was kind of ridiculous because they were all spread out over the boat. So we grouped 5 on either side that we marked out, and it enables basically kind of a buffer to be put in the middle of the boat, or just forward a middle, and enables us to kind of spread out along the sides.
yes. Mm-hmm. And now, hey, we're having a lighter load, right? Mm-hmm. Bring your buddies. Come with us right now. I just went out with 28 people. We came home with 40 people's worth of fish.
It was crazy. That
I mean,
pile
we
of
had
fish
a
this
big
morning.
pile of fish. So if you want to go right now because I'm going with 28.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
with 50, it's crowded. But 28, hell, we can squeeze 6 or 7 more of you guys on the boat.
And even this week, we've seen the same thing this week on our 5-hour half day, our 10-hour all days.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The 39-hour, I think,
Kids
Tuesday.
are back in school and people are working. If you want to go, we have a lighter load
Right now.
Now is the time.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, even locals that I talk to, that don't have kids, that
If
aren't
you're
really
watching this show,
affected
nobody
by
else knows.
that aren't affected by kids going back to school. A lot of them say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait till it cools off," but it seems like everybody
Now's the
feels
time.
that way.
Everybody feels the same way.
Because no one's fishing right now. Tomorrow we have 35 on our half day. Tuesday we've got 15 on the
Look,
10
guys,
hour,
it's not
30
going to
on the
cool
39
down
hour.
till Halloween.
You're gonna
You
wait
can't
2
wait
months,
that long. Go now when we got a light load.
and
We
the bite's good.
We can take better care of you. We will give you tips and tricks. We want you to catch fish.
And you get more time, more one-on-one time with the captain
Yeah.
crew. It's an all-around great time to get out there on the water.
Get a
right
little
now.
more personal instruction. If you're not familiar with what we're doing and you want to be a better fisherman, we're here to help, guys.
Amen to that. And with that, let's see what our next question
Estelle,
is.
if you're watching, congratulations on the jackpot.
Yeah.
All right.
Congrats, Estelle.
I don't have your. I'm not friended. Come on, man. What's up?
Oh, Estelle. She's trying to dodge you, Cap.
Yeah,
So let's see who
she's
won
got
our
attorneys
30.
that have
Let's see who won our 39-hour
Ooh.
overnight trip for one guest.
Who's been watching the whole time? here?
Gonna give away our 39-hour trip for one guest. You gotta claim it quickly. Jennifer James from
all right,
Tampa.
Jenny.
Thank
Jennifer
God.
James
All right.
from
God.
Tampa.
Come on.
So you gotta claim it quickly, Jennifer, before it goes away.
Come on, start dialing.
Yep, you gotta text. Don't dial.
All right.
Text that phone number right over there to make sure you claim that free trip. You've got 5 minutes. So basically, you've got until
Come on, we want to take you. Let's go.
Yeah, 9:22 you got until before we don't give away that free trip to Jennifer James. So hurry up. Now, with that, we still got more trips to give away, so don't log out yet. But we were switching up the order, guys, because we heard some shenanigans were afoot.
Ooh.
What is the best size hook and weight with 30-pound line on a spinning reel? Typically, one of the best suggestions that I always tell people is utilize the website's videos and tackle suggestions. So we have extremely in-depth tackle
We're not gonna lie to you.
suggestions on all of our trips. If you go to the mid-range and click the 10-hour all-day trip, and then scroll down, we have a little bit of information above the fold.
Yeah,
but the-
yeah. Use the information, guys.
But what's interesting, I want to point out to people, obviously it seems pretty straightforward that you guys are listening, but what happened was when I rebuilt the website with Josh's help, when Josh rebuilt the website and I wrote a lot of it, I wrote a lot. And I wanted to be as extremely in-depth as possible. But what happened is our booking company, our marketing company, some kind of consultants that we work with all said it was too much information. So what they did was Josh came up with this idea of the quick details box, which is really helpful because it gives you the basics really quickly and you can book your trips really quickly. It makes it all seamless for people who just get on here with their smartphones and want to make a reservation and get off. And it has a little bit of information, but what a lot of people don't realize is right below the videos, it says want to know more. So we're going to scroll way out just so you can see the information. Probably can't see that. Now you can see it. So there's a little bit of quick details. There's a little body. There's a couple videos, but watch what happens when I click the want to know more. Boom. Look at all
take advantage
that book
of these
information.
time, man. You know, he spent a lot of time doing this.
The website page literally quadruples in length when you click that button, want to know more. And the same thing happens on all of those fishing pages. Plus, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize too is not only can you read all that information, but you can go to Fishing Trips, and right under the Fishing Trips tab, you're going to see the one link, and not enough people saw it or knew about it. So what we did was we tried to make it even easier. We made it all caps, and it says "Catch More Fish."
Right.
So
Check
hopefully
it out,
people
guys.
click on it.
Use the information we're giving up, man. It works. You're gonna come home with a cooler full of fish.
And we have the fishing reports right on the top of that page. Underneath the fishing reports is the fishing tips and tricks section, and the fishing tips and tricks section can take you over to that fishing tips and tricks page. If you click view more, there's a ton of stuff in here, like how to catch a hogfish. And this one literally goes in depth to what kind of tackle to use, what size hooks to use, what techniques to use, how to cast, how to pull it tight.
And if you don't have the time to look at the website,
we heard you. Thank you.
ask the crew.
Yes.
Come on, we are here to help, and we want you to catch more, because then we can post pictures of you catching more.
And we want you to catch more.
Everybody
we give you the
can
information.
catch more.
And we give you the information too. But to answer your question, you want to use about a 3 to 4 aught hook and about a 1 to 2 ounce lead, depending on your main line.
A 3 ounce lead, a 3 ounce hook.
Well, he said on a spinning reel, and with 30-pound test. So he's talking about the half day.
It depends on how deep you are, what you're trying to catch.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of variables.
I assumed he was talking about a near shore trip because he said 30-pound on a spinning reel. We don't use spinning reels on our 39-hour trips. You don't fish
but
bottom
the near
with
shore,
spinning reels.
if you want to get the gray, the white grunts and the vermilions and maybe some lane
hogfish.
snapper and the hogfish, 30. What do you think, Frank? 30 or
30,
20? 20
30,
pound,
30.
30, 30.
30.
Yep.
And a smaller hook. If you want to catch triggerfish, they're still open, right?
Yeah, triggerfish
Smaller
still open.
hook. We had a guy that wanted some triggers on this last overnighter. He dropped a smaller hook on a chicken rig and got his limit too.
Nice.
Two drops, 2 triggers, done.
Yep, and definitely it works well to lighten up a little bit. But this time of year with gags open, typically on our longer range trips, 12-hour extreme, 39-hour, 44-hour, you want to use at least 60-pound test, unless the bite
60
totally
for
dies.
the grouper. If you're snapper fishing at night, 30 or 40. I got heavy hands. I gotta have 40.
Yeah,
I break it.
I don't like 30-pound tests.
But if grouper fishing or jack fishing during the day, 60. You gotta have 60. You're gonna lose the fish.
And if you're using 40-pound test at night, you're gonna hook a fish that's gonna break you off, and it might have been that keeper gag grouper that you lost because you were using lighter tackle. So
you're gonna
gambling.
give up the big fish to catch more mangoes.
You're gonna give up the big fish for
more
opportunities
Right.
to catch those mangroves,
Right.
and more chances and more bites. But you're also gonna break off more fish. So really, if everybody on the boat used 60, you'd catch mangroves on 60.
Will has been doing 60 and using 2 different hook sizes for the double snell rig and catching a lot of fish.
That's
60.
my dad's favorite method is one bigger hook on the bottom, like 7, 8.
His dad cheats. Every time I take his dad fishing, he's the first one to catch a gag. He's the first one to limit out on the mangoes. He wants to catch another damn gag. Don't go fishing with Captain Mark, man.
Don't fish next to
He
him
will
either.
hog the fish, man.
The next question is Federal Waters 9 miles from Johns Pass. Federal Water starts 9 miles from the demarcation line, which is a little further.
Every
basically,
electronic chart
has the
it
line.
on there.
And it depends on how updated your charts are.
And so, and state limits are different than federal limits. So look it up, know your limit, and know where the line is. It's on every electronic chart.
And remove the guesswork and use the Fish Rules app, which shows you the regulations based on the GPS coordinates of your phone. Your phones have GPS. Once you go out of cell range, your cell phone service doesn't work, but the GPS still works. The Fish Rules app still works. Before you head out in the boat while you're still in cell range, open up the Fish Rules app, let it update the regulations. You can leave cell phone range, turn on your airplane mode so your cell phone's not roaming, killing the battery. You can pull out your cell phone 50 miles from shore on the Fish Rules app, and it's going to show you the regulations based on where your boat is that your cell phone's in, and it's going to be super helpful.
Use
it helps
the
around.
information available.
Yeah, so use the Fish Rules app. That takes the guesswork out of it. You won't need to know if you're in state or federal waters because the Fish Rules app will tell you right at the top. So definitely highly recommend that. And right now the feds and the FWC have contracted with the Fish Rules app. So when a regulation changes, the actual federal and state managers go into the Fish Rules app and change it themselves. So
it's up to date.
It's as up to date as it can get.
Yeah.
So definitely highly recommend that as an option. Let's see. What other questions do we have? When cleaning a giant fish like a 100-pound amberjack for portions, do you just like slice it vertically into steaks, or do you ever cut it into a slab half down the length of the fish first?
I have done both. Mm-hmm. It depends who you're feeding.
Yeah. For me, a 100-pound amberjack generally is going to be extremely firm because those flakes get even bigger. So what I would do with it is I would fillet it first to make it easy, and then I would cut those fillets into smaller, more manageable pieces. And then once I have those steaks, then I would finger it out and fry it. And then when you go to finger it out, then you're cutting strips across your steak. And the more cross cuts you make across those flakes, the more it's going to break down those tendons, those connections, and make it more tender.
A fat fillet and cut it in half.
Yeah.
And then portioned the half pieces.
Yeah.
On a big fillet, because it cooks different. A smaller fillet, you know, it's going to cook faster.
You could take a steak and then cut strips of that steak, which is going to give you another smaller steak, and then you can cut strips of that. So you're doing 3 cross cuts across the grain.
Yes,
and it's like when you get a flank steak from Publix, and you cook a flank steak for your salad or whatever you're making, carne asada, they always tell you to cut across the grain of the flake steak because you're breaking down those tendons, those connections, and makes the meat more tender. Same thing with one of those larger fish. And like Goliath grouper, when they used to eat those, they used to shave the meat off of it because they were trying to combat this firm texture of the meat.
Very firm. The bigger the fish, you know, the firmer the meat.
Yeah.
But on a big, thick fillet, if you want to just cut off some 1-inch steaks to get all the way down to the skinny section, that's good. Mm-hmm. But if you want to do it a little different, you can just cut the fillet in half and have the smaller pieces, especially if you're going to bake it. If you're going to fry it, it's different. Throw it in the pan, you're good.
Yep.
But, you know, the thicker piece takes longer to cook.
Yep. And I like them thinner. That way you can get more seasoning on there, get them a little